Chris Mach was a proven winner in high school, helping her teams rack up 4 state championships in softball and basketball. Not a lot changed at Eastern, where the Southington native was a key part of 1 national softball champion and 1 basketball Final Four qualifier. In softball, Chris was a first baseman on 4 straight NCAA Division III regional softball tournament championship teams, the final 2 of which reached the national championship round. In basketball, she played the post as a 2-year letter winner and starter. As a senior in basketball, Chris started every game and helped the program to its first berth in the NCAA Final Four. In 2 games in the Northeast Sectional Tournament, Chris totaled 30 points and 23 rebounds and was named to the All-Tournament team. In softball, the 2-sport captain batted .356 with a .984 fielding percentage on teams which won over 80% of their games and gained All-America honors as a senior. Chris stepped into the starting role for the first time on the 1990 National Championship team, batting .348 with a .984 fielding percentage. In her final at-bat of the season, she contributed a key 5th-inning double when Eastern scored the only run of the national title game.
Chris Mach was mature, she was a giver, she was a person of quality. When she first came to Eastern, she was not a great athlete, although she had great training at Southington High School. But her skill level was down a bit, but as a person, and she put that into what her athletics became, and she just blossomed. But those are qualities you don't find too often. And I would be a bit surprised today if all those qualities bloomed out into an unusually wonderful woman. But I noticed the maturity in her as a student. Nothing bothered her. She smiled and performed. She was a competitor. From the minute she came to the practice field, she was totally ready to do things in softball or basketball. You know, sometimes you say athletics is 90% determination, 10% skill. Well, she had more than 10% skill. She was strong and aggressive and a good athlete, but the 90% of the perseverance would have been true with her. I remember the end of her sophomore year. I used to stay and hit ground balls and hang around with the pitchers. I was responsible for the pitchers, but she knew I liked to hit ground balls. Coach Riz, can we hit ground balls? Sure. At the bucket, we hit them. I never hit any more ground balls, and I hit a lot of them. Baseball, softball. She took the most of anybody. You couldn't get her away. She just developed. Eventually she fielded everything that came her way. But it was all upon her determination and her practice. One of the greatest practice people I've ever known. When she had to perform in the clutch, she was at her best. And part of that was her character again. She was tough. I don't think coaches use that word a little extraneously, but she literally was tough. She wanted it, she went and got it, and she earned it. I bet you she was a tremendous student in the classroom. She was always the first down to practice. She was mature. When we were playing in the National in Iowa, we had to win 3 games. The first girl that came in after our infield, always ready to keep the dugout alive, which she did, was Chris. If you looked at Chris, you'd see her there. She'd be coming forward and I'd be just thinking, when's my opportunity? And I'm going to make the most of it. But she never, ever was critical of anything, coaches or players. She was very, very considerate of her teammates, exceptionally so. Chris was not going to let you down. She was going to be there. She was going to scoop every ball that was there when she got good. And she was going to range at first base. Pop-ups were nothing to her. She could run well. And when she got in the clutch, she could hit.
What I remember about Chris Mach was she came in at the same time I did, and she was really quiet at first, but she worked hard, and she knew that she had a lot of skills to work at before she could become a starter, and she accepted that.
Chris was very successful on the court because she was tough, she was motivated, she was competitive. I think she was probably the nicest of the 5 of us, and that's no offense to the other folks who are superior players that I had the privilege of playing with, but she was very nice, and she brought out the good in all of us. I think all of us played better because of her. Now, that said, she also completely contributed to the wins.
She came in her junior year ready to go, worked really hard, and just took over at first base and became a clutch hitter. And she led us in every category offensively, I think, that year.
She always contributed in some huge way, maybe differently each time, but it was always a game changer.
She would get those clutch hits, and no one really expected it. And then we started to expect it, and she still came through in the clutch. I mean, you think about the national tournament where she got that sacrifice fly, or she, put the ball in play, or got a double here or there. Macher was more of a singles doubles hitter, but at the same time, you knew she was going to come through whenever you needed her to. And it's because of her demeanor and her mental toughness when she got in the box. She knew what she needed to do.
She scored, she rebounded, she played defense. I mean, she had some incredibly outstanding games that when everything else was failing, she just absolutely picked up everybody's slack and put us into a win.
At this time, it is my great pleasure to introduce as a 2013 E-Club Hall of Fame inductee, Kristine H. Mach.